All right, let's just jump right into this explainer. We're looking at the completely mind-boggling journey of how ordinary, everyday sand is transformed into the ultra-pure, crystal-perfect canvases that literally power our modern world. It is so easy to take that smartphone in your pocket or the computer on your desk completely for granted, but the physical foundation of those devices, the literal ground they're built on, is the result of one of the most extreme, precise, and frankly, dangerous manufacturing processes humans have ever come up with. Today, we're tracing that exact journey.
Here is our manufacturing roadmap for today. We're going to cover the anatomy of silicon, the journey from sand to silicon, growing the perfect crystal, slicing and polishing wafers, and finally, the ultimate chemical clean. Starting off with Section 1, the anatomy of silicon, order out of chaos. Before we look at how it's made, we really need to appreciate why silicon is the chosen one for electronics. If you look at its yield stress, it sits at a staggering 5,000 megapascals. To put that into perspective, everyday materials like steel top out around 1,500, so silicon vastly outstrips it, giving it immense physical strength. It's incredibly robust, yet relatively lightweight. Its density is just 2.33 grams per cubic centimeter. But mechanical strength, that's really only half the story here. The real magic is what's going on inside. The true enemy of electronics is amorphous chaos and grain boundaries. Think about amorphous materials that have absolutely no well-defined order, or polycrystalline materials that are just packed full of microscopic boundaries. Those boundaries are basically defects, and they totally disrupt the flow of electrons. But then you have the single crystal cubic structure of silicon. This sp3 hybridized diamond structure gives us this beautiful, repeating unit cell. Every single atom is perfectly locked into place with long-range order. And that absolute uniformity is exactly what lets engineers predictably control how electricity moves through a microchip. So here is the crucial takeaway. To achieve this absolute, perfect order on an atomic level, we need a staggering purity standard of better than 99.99999%. Seriously, let that sink in. We are talking about less than one trace impurity atom per billion. In this industry, even a tiny speck of rogue atoms can completely ruin the electronic properties of our perfect crystal. Hitting that 1 part per billion mark is just a monumental chemical feat. Which brings us to Section 2, from sand to silicon, the great refinement. Let's look at how we actually achieve that mind-bending purity, starting from a literal beach. Because getting to that 1 part per billion level definitely doesn't start in a pristine clean room. It starts with plain old dirt and sand. It is wild to think that the same quartzite sand we walk on eventually becomes a highly refined, super dense cylinder of electronic-grade silicon. We start with raw silicon dioxide sand, process it into metallurgical-grade silicon, which is mostly used for things like aluminum alloys and silicons. But then that tiny fraction destined for semiconductors undergoes one more massive leap to become incredibly pure electronic-grade silicon. So how do we make that leap? It's a highly complex chemical recipe where we strip away the chaos by boiling and distilling at extreme temperatures. First, we take that sand and blast it in an 1800 degrees Celsius furnace with carbon, just to strip away the oxygen. Then, we react that solid silicon with hydrogen chloride gas at high temperatures to create a liquid compound called trichlorosilane. Now, why a liquid? Well, at room temperature, liquids can be intensely distilled to boil off trace impurities. Finally, through a process of hydrogen reduction, we convert that ultra-pure liquid right back into solid electronic-grade silicon. And that takes us to Section 3, growing the perfect crystal, the Zio-Krofsky method. Now that we have our pure raw material, we actually have to precisely align every single atom. This brings us to a process that honestly looks like pure magic. It's called the Krauser-Kawski method. Developed by Jan Krauser-Kawski back in 1918, this technique is the undisputed king of semiconductor manufacturing, used to grow perfect single-crystal silicon by slowly pulling a seed crystal from a molten silicon bath. Defining this method is absolutely crucial to understanding everything that follows, because it relies on a delicate balance of temperature, rotation, and incredibly slow movement. Let's break down this growth process. We take pure silicone and heat it above 1417 degrees Celsius in an inert crucible. Once it's molten, we insert a perfect, tiny, single crystal seed. As it touches the melt, the liquid atoms actually flow up the seed and begin to cool, perfectly aligning with the seed as they freeze. Then we incredibly slowly pull it upward and rotate it to draw out a massive, circular cross-section crystal. The atomic orientation of that tiny starting seed literally dictates the orientation of the entire massive crystal that follows it. The end result is a flowless, massive single-crystal silicon ingot, also known as a boule. And here is the coolest part. A built-in zone refining effect actually ensures the solid material is purer than the liquid it was just pulled from. This happens because of the segregation coefficient. Basically, impurities naturally prefer to stay in the liquid melt rather than locking themselves into the solidifying crystal grid. So the solidifying region is effectively pushing defects back down into the bath. It's a built-in inherent purification process happening right in front of us.
Moving on to Section 4, slicing and polishing wafers, shaping the canvas.
Obviously, a giant, heavy cylinder doesn't exactly fit into a microchip, so we have to shape it into delicate, paper-thin substrates. Because that extreme high-temperature pulling process leaves slate imperfections on the outer edges, the very first step is grinding the ingot using a diamond cup wheel to make it a perfectly uniform cylinder. We need exact dimensions here. Depending on the generation of the fabrication plant, these ingots are ground down to extremely precise diameters, like 6, 8, or 12 inches across. Once that diameter is locked in perfectly, the slicing begins. Once they're sliced off the main ingot, the substrates are polished to an absolute flawless mirror shine. This gives us these assorted sizes of incredibly thin silicon wafers. We're talking just 300 to 800 micrometers thick, ready for microfabrication. They are perfectly flat, highly reflective, and totally free of physical surface damage. We've got a structurally flawless, mechanically robust, and ultra-pure canvas. But in the microscopic world of semiconductors, physical perfection alone, that's just not going to cut it.
Which leads us to our final step, Section 5, the ultimate chemical clean, eradicating all impurities. We've built the perfect physical canvas, but now we absolutely must ensure microscopic cleanliness on the surface. Any organic residue or gross particulate contamination will just destroy the microchips we're trying to build. This brings us to a highly volatile phase. There's a saying in the industry, refluxing acids is dangerous. Always stay safe and disciplined. We are stepping away from the mechanical world of diamond saws and straight into a world of aggressive, boiling chemistry. To safely navigate this cleaning process, engineers literally have to armor up. Mandatory PPE for wafer cleaning includes thick nitrile gloves, splash goggles, a full face shield, and a heavy-duty chemical apron. It is an absolute requirement. They're handling incredibly dangerous, rapidly consuming liquids, so one single mistake here can be catastrophic. These chemicals aren't just soap and water. They are designed to violently destroy organic matter. Specifically, Piranha and RCA cleans use exothermic boiling acid mixes to violently strip away organic contaminants by oxidizing them into CO2 gas. By using this boiling mix of sulfuric acid and hydrogen peroxide, any rogue organic material left on the wafer is literally burned away into carbon dioxide, leaving the silicon flawlessly pure. This mix is terrifyingly effective. The sulfuric acid rapidly reduces organic matter to carbon, and the hydrogen peroxide violently oxidizes that carbon. The reaction is so intense and exothermic that it rapidly consumes the peroxide, meaning the mixture has to be made fresh every single time. It aggressively strips the surface and prepares it for delicate fabrication. So the next time you use your phone, will you think about the boiling acids, the 1800-degree furnaces, and the atomic-level precision that created its silicon brain? It's a fiery, dangerous, and brilliantly structured journey from raw beach sand to the device you are holding right now. We took chaotic dirt, boiled it, crystallized it with atomic perfection, ground it with diamonds, and bathed it in boiling acid just to build a foundation of our modern digital world. I really hope this explainer leaves you wondering what other complex miracles are sitting right in your pocket. Stay curious and keep exploring the incredible engineering hidden all around us.